Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and it's another dynamic duo.
Here's some twos.
Brody's and twosome. Dylan and myself are going to be just getting at it again like we normally do.
Speaking right into your ears.
You know. Just right at the top, let me go ahead and say this. Normally we don't do this because, again, we have watched movies that are varying degrees of older movies, so I haven't felt the need to have a spoiler warning. But
You're right.
I just want to say this at the top for anybody out there who has not seen Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, or Hathaway's Flash, whatever it's considered. I believe, as far as Netflix goes,
Right.
just Hathaway.
If you want to avoid spoilers, skip to the end of however long this episode is.
Just go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and skip towards probably the halfway point.
In fact, stop listening right now.
Just in case.
Turn your phone and or computer off.
I just really want to chill on this movie for a bit. And this movie, by the time you guys are listening to this, it's already been out for basically a week now.
Right.
So I feel like that was probably enough time to enough of a buffer just to give some people some space.
Bad.
But if you haven't seen it, even if we spoil some things for you, even if you have no idea what's going on in the Gundam universe, is it called the UCU?
Just UC.
The Universal Center Universe.
You could say UC timeline.
UCT.
Right.
But anyways, even if you have no idea what's going on, it's still a very pretty movie. It's very cool. But anyways, without further ado, if you haven't seen it and you want to, pause right now.
Go watch it.
If you go on Netflix, it's there. Definitely recommend it.
If you don't have Netflix, buy a subscription.
Just
use a 30-day free trial.
Yes, right. But then come back. Not sponsored by Netflix, by the way.
Of course not.
But then come back and listen to this podcast. Anyways, I want you to go ahead and just tell me your experience with this movie. Because you've been waiting for this for a while.
It's everything I was hoping it would be and more.
Oh, man, dude.
Of course, the big draw for me was going to be the action with the mobile suits, of course.
Oh, of course.
Because, I mean, what the fuck else am I going to watch this for besides a
Besides
continuation
the
of
big
this
robots
the
punching
story,
each other?
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Of course.
And, man, they pulled it off with flying colors.
Dude. How long... When did you actually hear about this movie, like, when it was coming out?
It was back when they had released, like, the first trailer for it, like the teaser. I can't remember when that was. It was at least a year or two ago.
Wow.
But,
So you've been waiting for basically about a year for this to come out then?
yeah, just about.
Wow, dude.
And it was worth it.
Look at how chunky these guys are. I'm just pulling up pictures and seeing the
Suits they depicted.
of the big suits.
It's mostly returning. The only new ones that we've seen are, I mean, as far as I know, I haven't read the manga for Hathaway's Flash yet, and I don't know if it's in there, but the Messer, I think it's FO1, is the most beautiful thing in this movie, to me at least.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Which one was that one? Is that the one that...
It's the mono eye.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
It is, like, any fight scene with that thing in there is beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is like one or two throughout the entire movie. But they're nice enough that you can overlook the lack of action. I'd say it makes up for it.
Yeah. Well, there was a point in time for me when let me think. I believe I've told this story before, but I want to go ahead and just say some of it again while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Is I got introduced to the Gundam franchise by you. It's the same thing like we've said before. I think when we talked about the original series, I thought it was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know where to start, and I knew it was a big, all-encompassing, like, series.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of nerve-wracking to get started on.
Right, a bit daunting.
Yeah, but I believe you showed me at the time what was the I think, give or take, the most recent thing, which was Gundam.
One of, if not the most recent series was Unicorn.
Yeah. And
it's a pretty good introductory series, even though it starts at, like, past the beginning.
Yeah, right.
Sort of in the middle ground, even though a lot of other stuff's going on.
I thought it was a great series. I really enjoyed it. Now, like I said, I believe we've talked about it before a little bit, but needless to say, this movie, I believe, takes place after all that.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like after I watched Unicorn, I was like, I love the Universal Century timeline, which is like I think it's like the core story of Gundam. It's kind of like
it's always at the forefront.
Yeah, it is like the bones of what the story is, I think. And there's extra series.
A good frame, if you would.
Right. And so I fell in love with the Universal Century stuff, and so I was like, give me more, dude.
Right.
Give me, I wanted something that was cool and we could still watch and have some fun with or whatever.
Plenty.
And I think I watched like Thunderbolt, and we watched.
I showed you the original like 4-episode mini-series version of Thunderbolt.
Right. And then I believe I watched. You told me that we watched something like F91 or something like that.
Yes, we
watched. Which, again, that feels like long ago.
Did we watch F91?
I don't know. You told me one, and you were like, we've watched this before. It's been a long time. And I was like, wait, really? And then I saw the characters, and I was like, I vaguely remember this. But that was, again,
we have.
Maybe not. I may be misquoting on F91.
In total, we've watched the first 3 compilation movies for the original Gundam.
Right.
The entirety of Origin.
Right.
8th MS Team. Stardust Memory.
We haven't watched any of Zeta.
No, none of Zeta yet.
Double Zeta. We watched Char's Counterattack, which we will get to. Or I will get to whenever we are approaching the real meat of this episode.
Just doing a roll call.
Oh, right. Hold on, let me go ahead and just while we're talking about this and bringing it up. But anyways, whoopsie. I just went ahead and Googled like what is the Universal Century watch order, and it's like a huge list of
there's
all kinds of stuff. So
God, I love that art.
Oh dude, this is so cool, man. Look at all these really cool pictures. We haven't watched any of Igloo. Thunderbolt, yeah. War in the Pocket.
That was
that's such a good one, dude. What a wholesome. I love that art right there. That's my favorite.
Wholesome.
What
do you mean?
I mean, it gets real sad, but
right.
We haven't watched that. Well, Victory Gundam.
Oh God.
Oopsie, turn A. So there's one I'm missing in here that I could have swore we watched, but anyways.
I know we watched Narrative as well.
That was the one you were talking about. Narrative, not F91. So where does Narrative fall in this timeline?
This is an older list, so I don't think it was updated.
Interesting.
At least recently.
Well, anyways, sorry.
There we go.
There is.
I forgot about G Savior.
Wait, what is that?
That was a live-action Gundam movie made in 2000.
Ooh, that sounds not good.
It is something.
Anyways, okay, so let me get back on track here. Hathaway takes place, I think, besides Victory and Turn A, or is Victory before that as well?
Victory happens way after.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it is probably the furthest thing in the timeline besides Victory and Turn A that has recently come out.
Yeah.
Hathaway or Hathaway's Flash, whatever it's considered. And so, again, to bring this all back around to what I was talking about initially, is I told him, I was like, I love this. I think it's really cool. I think the universe and how it's like a futuristic version of what our universe feels like almost. And because it is also Earth and Mars and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's.
But with a bunch of sci-fi shit just kind of jammed in.
Yeah, with a bunch of robots beating each other up.
Yes. As it should be.
Yeah, right. But I was like, just give me more. So I want to say, like I said, we kind of like bounced back and forth. Mm-hmm. There's a few of them that I know that I like latched onto. I know on this podcast specifically, we've talked about like the main original movie or the main original TV show. I think we watched like the big movies for them. We definitely talked about War in the Pocket because it's the Christmas Gundam. We talked about that.
Of course.
But there's other ones in there that I thought were really cool, and I love the story. I love the fact that it's like growing this whole. It gives me the same vibe that I think I told you this before, and I probably have said it before, and I'll say it again. It gives me the same vibe of like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and like, for instance, even though I know nothing about it, like Harry Potter, how it's like it has these like it is this huge world.
It is established.
Yes, it is established and tested with time. Because it's been out since the late 70s or whatever. Right. It's just been, it's been around, and it has had some talented people writing some amazing stuff into it, and this movie is no exception.
Oh yeah,
dude,
it's really good.
So before you watch Hathaway, there's a
lot of shit you gotta watch.
There's a lot going on leading up to this. And I just finished watching 8th MS Team with Dylan, which I thought was a great show, just to dance around that for a second. I love the team. I love the camaraderie. It made me feel for all of them. It was it was a really good, just like buddy show. It was oh man, I want to root for all these guys. They're working so hard and they're so cool.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough time because I wanted to be able to watch Hathaway and know what's going on up into this point. And so Dylan was like, we need to watch Zeta and Double Zeta, but we don't have enough time because I think we were talking about this Tuesday or Wednesday, and the movie came out Thursday. So I was like, well, so we finished up 8th MS Team. We skipped over Zeta and Double Zeta, and then we went straight to
God, I can't believe you fucking skipped Zeta.
Well, we're going to come back to it. Again, if nothing else, I have bounced around with the Universal Century timeline, and I think I'm still able to keep up. So I understand what's going on. So we're not skipping it. We're going to go back to it. Because you have hyped it up for me.
By the end of this, you will believe in a sign of Zeta.
Okay. I don't know what it means, but
it's a lyric from the opening.
Hoorah. I'll get behind it. But we jumped over those and went straight to Shark's Counterattack, which is kind of the gateway into
pretty far in there.
Yes. But we jumped ahead just enough because Shark's Counterattack is kind of the gateway into Hathaway. It's what introduces him as a character, and it like pre-establishes his character before you even watch the movie, because you kind of see some of the trauma he has to go through. But okay, so now that all that's all talked about, now that I have like set the stage a little bit, and now everyone's up to date with where I am and where you are, just go ahead and tell me how you feel about this movie.
I feel happy. Fulfilled, even.
Satisfied.
Yes.
Dude.
Undiluted euphoria, one might say.
The movie opens up, and you are greeted with this beautiful plane. It is like, if you have like first class, like cranked up to 20.
Oh yeah,
dude, it looks posh. And
people
of course,
talking about how you got to have connections to get on the damn thing.
Yes, well, and again, you can see it because again, you're like, man, it's all like politicians and higher ups, and I think they called them bigwigs, is what the corporate bigwigs or whatever. And then, dude, from the get-go, again, I'm going to be paraphrasing and jumping around. There's like a terrorist attack on the plane, basically.
Yes.
it happens.
An attempted plane jacking.
It happens real swiftly.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, like
the motherfuckers from a Halloween party.
Yeah.
Jack-o'-lantern.
What is it? Jack Skellington jumps in there with a gun and starts blowing people up. No. It, like, from the get-go, dude, it has this, like, tension, and it's, like, there's so much adrenaline. And, again, like, there is a mixture of, like, regular anime 2D style mixed with, like, CGI, I believe is what it is. I could be wrong, so please forgive me if I'm just
CG.
assuming. But then also, I think they take pictures of real life as well, and then have animation
It definitely
on top
fucking
of it.
looks like it.
And so it's like
Otherwise, they just animated them walking over like a really fucking good drawing.
A very good, very hyper realistic drawing of like plants and grass and stuff. Mm-hmm. Regardless, it looks great, and it doesn't at no point. Maybe some of the hyper realistic stuff kind of looks like it stands out a little bit, but like all the pieces all feel cohesive.
Right, it's not so jarring that it takes you out of it.
It's smooth, and all of it feels cohesive. I guess it's just the biggest word I can think, or the best word I can think of. It's just
right.
It all feels
meshes pretty well.
Right, but you're greeted with this character who seems like he's like kind of, whatever.
An ordinary young man.
Yeah, but he's also kind of seems a little like he doesn't care. Right.
Sort of aloof and
apathetic.
Something's not quite working.
Right, and for those of you who may or may not know Captain Bright,
yes,
who is like the man,
the slapman.
Oh yeah, he's the
slapped
OG.
Some sense into the universe.
Between Amuro and Captain Bright, those are like the Gundam guys.
Oh yeah,
I think about. Well, Hathaway,
the two men that are responsible for saving the Earth multiple times,
time and time over. Mm-hmm. But Hathaway is Captain Bright's son. You don't see Captain Bright in this movie, but like you get to see this like character that you already know is like probably kind of over the whole song and dance is what it feels like right at the top. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh man, yeah, I can, you get it. You understand where he's coming from. Of like, I've been here before, it's whatever. But like, and you're also like immediately introduced to both like the two other main characters, which is this girl named Gigi, and then what was the guy's name?
Kenneth Slegg.
What an interesting name. And there's like this kind of trio of like partners or like companions, I guess is what you call it.
Acquaintances.
Right. And then as the movie is progressing, you get to see their kind of like weird
trifecta develop over time.
Yes. And there's also this weird kind of love triangle of like Kenneth is like this kind of like swagger guy who's like, I'm a is he a captain or is he
he's a commander.
Commander. So he's like, I'm a commander and I can get whoever I want. Kind of, not quite like that, but he tries to be smooth. He gets shut down a handful of times, but he's also, so he's kind of on the heels of Gigi because again, obviously he's on the heels of everybody who's a pretty girl, especially her. Gigi kind of has this affinity for our guy Hathaway. So like there's like this weird, I don't want to call it triangle, but it's this weird V pattern of
it's a triangle.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting dichotomy of people. But like, if we can talk about the first scene where, what suit was it that he was like falling out of the sky with? It's the first sequence where they're getting out of the hotel. And they're in like the downtown area.
Yeah, that's the Messer.
The Messer. Oh man,
I fucking love
it. Was
that
Gallman?
Thing.
Is Gallman the one?
Yes, Gallman was the one piloting.
Yeah. So there's the sequence when like shit's going down.
Yeah. It should be noted that Hathaway at this point in the story is the leader of for all intents and purposes, a terrorist organization.
Right.
That is trying to force everyone off of the Earth.
Right.
To start a new life out in space.
It's not so bad.
Right. It's not an awful idea.
Except for the fact that he's doing it very aggressively, I think.
Right. He's going about this by killing the current government leadership.
Nice.
That is in charge.
Nice.
In charge of the earth right now. And somehow he thinks this will
get everyone kick their tails in gear.
Apparently, in some way or another, he'll figure it out.
He'll spook them into space.
Right.
Okay, and then I don't think. I'll just fess up. I don't think I was paying full attention to some of the little dialogue that was going on because again, like I've talked about before, we watched this in the original Japanese translation, English subtitles, and I'm already not like the quickest with like reading and like fully comprehending like the full scope of a conversation sometimes, especially if it's like if it's happened fast.
Right.
For me, it's just one of those things where like I just need a little extra time. I've always kind of been like that, and like I said, I've gotten better, but a lot of times it's just one of those things where like I just can't quite comprehend it the same way I can just listening to my native language.
Buff your speed stat.
Yeah, right. Get
Go
good.
faster.
If the words were painted in red, I would go at least 3 times faster reading
If
it.
your eyes were red.
Well,
let's be honest here.
sorry.
That's
Well, I can't do that. That's too hard.
It's not the word's fault, Ian.
Yeah. It's not the word. It's your eyeballs. But so apparently, I believe that he had mentioned or something was talked about before that moment in the show, to where like I think we're supposed to know as the audience that he is the guy Mafti that they keep talking about, the kind of terrorist leader. Our girl Gigi has this weird intuition, is like
she can somehow tell if you're lying.
She can sniff it out,
read your mind.
Yeah. She has this kind of this weird innate ability to tell if you're lying.
We'll just say she's a new type.
Right. Yeah.
That's the go-to excuse.
I think she's a cool character, a little quirky, a little weird, but I think a cool character because I think it's like there's a lot there that I think we can really flush out. So she's already off the bat like, you're lying to me.
Right.
I know that you're lofty. Don't freaking lie. So, but I didn't think. I thought that she was like playing with him or something, or like was kind of just.
And she might have been.
Right. But little does she know.
Right.
The guy himself is right there. So there's this scene where they're trying to escape out of the hotel they're in, both Hathaway and Gigi.
Right. Hathaway's Messer squad is taking out as many like Federation higher-ups that are just squatting in these hotels as they can.
Right.
While also setting up like a diversionary attack so that Hathaway can get the fuck out of there because he's also in the hotel.
Yeah, right. And so that was what I was confused about. Is like as I watched it a second time, or like I watched the scene again, did Gallman know that he was in that hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was what I was thinking. I was like, he kept like referencing him, and I think I didn't quite pick up on that the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
But now knowing what I know, because again, he doesn't really come right out and say it until probably like a halfway point or 3/4 of the way through the movie is when he's like, yeah, I'm Mafti, what about it? Or something on this boat. And I was like, wait a minute, wait. So watching it a second time, I saw that moment where he's like, come on, Hathaway, dude, get out. I'm trying to help you out here.
I got like 6 minutes left on my timer, dude.
Exactly. I need to freaking go. But dude, those shots of
they nailed
holy crap
perspective,
dude,
scale,
sound.
Oh man, everything was perfect.
Bang up job, dude. When I tell you, like, there's like the moment where he's like finally touching down, and he's like going through the trees, and the trees are moving. His jets are like flaming up or whatever. I was like, man, this is gonna be so cool.
Yeah, it's good.
There's like points in. I told Dylan this. And this is the part that I want to shill on the most. I thought the whole movie was great, but there's this one sequence that it made me feel something.
Yeah.
It gave me this like adrenaline and flutter inside. It was really weird, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah.
It was that sequence, the mixture of like the adrenaline of this fight sequence, and then you have Hathaway, who at this point has this girl Gigi, who is like very obviously like kind of attracted to him, and is like told him about it, sort of, or referenced it or whatever. They're kind of also living in the same hotel at that time. Right. There's like this kind of weird, I don't want to say sexual tension, but there's this kind of weird just relational tension where he's like, I'm kind of not interested. And she's like, then fine, then I'll go somewhere else. Yeah,
It's a it's a really touchy situation for him.
Right.
Because of his past experiences with
in Char's counterattack.
Right.
He had someone he was very fond of, and she got pew pew pew.
She's stupid.
Yeah, she was
the dumbest motherfucker I have ever seen, and I'm glad.
Her character was obnoxious in that movie.
Oh yeah,
I didn't like her. Yikes.
Yeah.
Anyways, back onto the scene I'm talking about.
It was good.
There's like this back and forth going on between Hathaway and Gigi running out of this hotel, and there's a point specifically where like it's bouncing back, and you're seeing what was the suit again Gallman was in?
The Messer.
The Messer is like shooting guys down, and like when I say like these guns are like hitting, like it sounds big, and these guys like it feels like a big robot moving around and doing stuff, and it feels deliberate. All the movements.
One of the fucking Gustav Karls just straight up pulls a Titanfall. So doesn't even brace for his like landing. He just fucking lands and immediately fires a shot towards Gallman.
It's so interesting, and because it's all like this cool animated CGI type graphic look or whatever.
That's the best part.
It's
except for the parts where they were like flying around in the sky above the city.
Right.
On the ground, it was all like
modeled CGI, like looking stuff.
No. That's the best part. It wasn't.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. It was all animated.
Interesting.
With the exception of like a couple of shots.
Right.
Like the Messer landing, and that was it. It just transitioned into 2D stuff.
Really?
It was amazing.
See, I haven't seen it quite in detail a second time around to get some of that stuff. But the cool thing is that it blends the two so well.
Oh,
and sometimes it's hard to even tell.
Right.
Which I think is so awesome. But as I was saying, the sensation that I got is we're going between these two. For me, I'm like excited because I'm seeing these like these Gundams being shown in such a way that is like impressive and awe-inspiring.
Right.
And then I'm like, and then it's going back to our main character, and he's having this kind of internal struggle where he's like,
the fuck am I doing with this girl?
Yes, he almost cares, but then at the same time he's like,
I shouldn't.
And he's trying to clear his head because then
it's a mistake.
You can tell he has like this like subconscious like goal or mission in mind, and then she's kind of getting in the way, distracting him, and it feels that way. It feels like he's clouded his judgment. But it's also like there's like this really weird, in this tense moment with this music, and it feels your adrenaline's raised. There's like this almost alluring aspect to it where like there's like in the elevator there's like sweat that like rolls off this lady's chest, and she's like Gigi's not, I don't think she means to be like seductive or whatever, but it's just the way she like leans over.
She's just having like a quiet conversation
she just
with the guy.
Leans over, and there's a way that she says certain things, and the way the camera, I'm going to say camera quote unquote because I don't really know what to say in an animated movie, the camera gets close-ups of her lips, and the way she moves her hands just ever so softly or whatever. It's like it makes me feel weird like trying to describe it because it feels like I'm like I feel like I'm making it out to be weird, but it's just because everything feels so smooth and kind of seductive.
Right.
You can also like you're in the same kind of mind frame that Hathaway's in, where it's like this is like intense. We're like evacuating a hotel, but at the same,
fuck are you doing?
But at the same time, it's like, oh wow, I'm getting distracted by this girl at the same time. Just I feel in his position.
Like, man, I really gotta get back to leading my militia or whatever.
Exactly.
But hot damn, this girl though.
But man, she's like, it's. Anyways, but that's the kind of the sensation that I'm getting from it, and it like it proceeds throughout the entire scene. If it goes back and forth between like, there's a point whenever they get out into like the main street area, and the freaking Gauman's like smashing down, and like they're like their beam weapons are like melting through stuff, and for the first time you get to see like collateral damage of these huge robots just duking it out, which I'm like, man, this is so cool. But in the mixture of all that, you have just this kind of like this tension between these two characters, and one is like, I don't think she's meaning to be meaning to like try and entice him. But there's like little things, like I said, when she like holds his hand, like the camera does certain good things with like showing shots of their hands together when it, like as the scene's progressing, and like Gauman's suit gets like just like stabbed through. There's like this like spray of like sparks and like flame stuff.
I love that
and
shot, dude.
When I'm telling you, like it's like this, almost like it's like a fireworks display, and Hathaway's holding Gigi, and there's just certain ways that she's like moving her hands. It's like it just makes me feel strange. That's the after I was thinking about it, I didn't describe it quite the way I wanted to in the moment when we were watching it. But that's the thing, is it really put me in Hathaway's perspective of like, I've got a mission, I've got something to do, we got to get out of here.
And
I'm
this
trying to save us.
Girl,
and not even mad, but just like this. Wow, she's so tempting. It's weird. It's so weird. Not like I'm saying like, not like I'm. You're making me feel weird when you're laughing like that. But it's like
funny.
I know it is funny, but it's not like I'm like actually attracted.
Right.
But it's just this weird sensation of like she's distracting me with all these like little subtle things. I'm like, wow, quit distracting me. I'm trying to fight a war here.
Right.
And but it's this cool sensation of like when I was watching it, I was like, there's so many feelings. I don't know what's going on, dude. It was so cool. And I think they did it well. It looked beautiful. It was in the middle of the night, and there's like, I think there was rain or something going on, maybe, or maybe not. But
no rain, but it was just
chaotic.
A battle in a city at night.
One of the mobile suit units like falls on top of the building, or like jumps on top of the building, whatever, and like you can tell the building kind of crumbles, and he slips and just like sits on top of the building, and it just all feels very fluid, and I don't know, it's really cool. I loved it. But man,
I fucking love Gauman's opening gambit with this fucking Gustav. Was like he took a couple of beam shots to his shield, knocked the damn thing off.
Oh, dude! And then like at one point drops his gun and it just falls from the heavens,
and it's just
boom,
pierced like right in front of a building.
And then one of their comrades is like, "What the hell is he doing, dude? Freaking chill out, man!"
Right. So after he loses his shield, he just makes a fucking charge for the motherfucker, while like unloading his fucking Vulcan into the thing. Takes out the head.
Dude,
by sheer like dumb luck.
Oh man!
And after that, he's like just beating up on it. Fucking roundhouse kicks the motherfucker. Which is when the other ones start showing up, and it's a losing battle at that point.
And this is the first time, at least that I can say, in a Gundam show or movie where like there are specific camera shots in that fight sequence that are like on the ground from a human's perspective, watching these guys roundhouse kick each other, and you're like, what? Man, this guy's mad. And like I said, the sound, it makes it feel huge. You're looking at these magnificent creations just pounding each other, and you're like, dude, this is intense.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And like I said, that is the biggest like emotion in that movie for me was that sequence right there at the top. I do think the later fight sequence at the end was also very impressive and very well done in a different way, because it's again the higher powered actual Gundam suits, and they're freaking killing it. But there's something about that scene right
just
there,
on the ground, gritty, like grunt action,
dude. And like I said, for me, it's that the balance between this like intense fight and our main guy, who I thought was going to be a good guy when I was watching it the first time, is like just trying to get out and save his life or whatever. And it's like it just felt so intense, and I loved it. So, needless to say,
it's a good movie.
It's a great movie. Like I said, I don't want to go into too much details as far as like what's going on, but I guess like in the entire movie. But I just want to talk about that one part. That was the big money maker for me. And supposedly we're going to get 2 more.
I hope.
Dude.
I really hope.
If I have some critiques to say about it, after watching it and really thinking about it, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of setup. We're, again, establishing, I guess, some new characters and, like, kind of flushing out our guy Hathaway and this Mofty character, which, again, is like his alter ego. It's an 1.5 hour long movie, and I was nervous because I was like, man, if it's only going to be a one-off movie, you're going to have a hard time fitting some, like, really nice stuff in, like, an 1.5 hours. But, again, I think a lot of it was, like, set up. We had a couple of really beautiful fight sequences. Nothing too crazy. I think it's a great introduction.
Oh yeah,
definitely. I think that we can expand upon this and make it something really cool, and I'm excited for that. Because even though, like I said, if it was to be one movie, I think you could have made it an extra 30 minutes longer and really flushed out some things. Yeah. But for what it is, the first of possibly a trilogy of movies, I think it was great.
I think it did the job.
Especially being like the new installment of Gundam. Like, dude, this is so cool, man.
It's really good.
Did you have any favorite part or any favorite character or thing you want to talk about in particular? I feel like I'm just rambling because I had that one thing.
The fights.
Dude, yeah.
The fights are what I was there for.
Right.
It was perfect.
Yes, dude.
Like, just watching the Penelope and the fucking ZG, like, just go at it.
Oh, and then also that same fight sequence that I keep talking about and referencing, when the Penelope kind of comes in and kind of just like rakes up the competition or whatever.
It wrecks ass.
Dude, whenever it has a different, like, propulsion system or something, and you can tell. And then like there's a point whenever it lands with such grace. You just got finished watching these, like, hulking machines, like, smash through things, and whenever they fall, you can tell
fisticuffs.
You can tell gravity is like, boom, these things are hitting around, and you have this elegant future tech piece of machinery that just, like, flies in, swoops in, and
almost
goes
alien,
and then just, like, literally this massive robot, you're looking at it, and it just delicately sits down on the ground, and it just, like, tiptoes, and you're there, and it's like the nice softest sound, and I was like, that is impressive.
Oh yeah.
Again, just the black and white comparison between, like, what the two suits. So yeah. Amazing.
It's up there for one of, if not the best Gundam movie. Out of the entire lineup.
Yeah. If nothing else, just for, I think, sound and looks.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
definitely.
Oh man.
I wish every fight could be like that. Like, holy shit.
The perspective and everything. I think you had told me, either you had showed me this video or I had seen something we were talking about at one point in time, that, like, there's not a lot of, like, new mech anime for, like to get new fans on board.
Yeah, it's been described as a bit of a dead genre.
Right.
With the exception of, I mean, the mainstays that have been just toughing it out
for
the past few decades.
And I'm not going to say this is going to, like, reinvent it or reinvigorate the series or the genre as a whole. But man, as I would consider myself a new fan of this sort of genre of things. You have showed me everything from Gurren Lagann to Fooly Cooly to, you have shown me some really cool, interesting stuff in the series, and I've been drawn to Gundam.
Oh yeah,
in a way. And dude,
there's just something about it.
If you want to talk about something that I was like, as a new fan, I'm impressed. I can only imagine someone who, like yourself, for instance, who has been in the game for a while, and, like, seeing this and going, man, this is what I'm talking about, dude.
See, that's the sad part. Most fans of this kind of stuff aren't like me.
Really?
A good few are, which I'm glad about, of course.
Right.
But then there's the jaded motherfuckers that just want to go back to the old style.
I know. There's always people like that. And like I said, there's probably things that I'm forgiving that I probably shouldn't, or I mean, I don't. It's my opinion. I just think it was a fun film.
Yeah, it was a cool fucking movie.
It was great. So, but I don't know. Anyways,
nothing wrong with liking stuff.
I know, yeah, especially a cool ass movie like this.
Even if you're able to point out what's bad about it and you still like it, that's just a guilty pleasure.
Right. Exactly.
Who cares if it's objectively bad? I don't give a shit. I think it's neat.
Exactly. One more thing that I think we can talk about that we just finished watching tonight, actually.
Oh, boy.
You want to talk about a long time coming?
Oh, yeah. This one took a while.
A handful of weeks ago, I want to say it's like 2 or 3 now, we watched Ghost in the Shell, the original movie.
Yes.
And it's a great film. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point in time, you and I had watched the television show, Standalone Complex. Mm-hmm. And we got 8-10 episodes deep?
We were about
something like that.
5 or 6, I want to say.
Okay, well, yeah, something like that.
We didn't get too far.
And I was intrigued, and I was interested in it.
Right.
But again, it was just between wanting to watch new Gundam shows and then, of course, work and everything. It took a back seat.
Yeah.
And we forgot about it.
It happens.
Well, we finally came around to finishing it.
Oh, yes.
And, dude.
It's so good.
There's points in time where, I'm following along, but sometimes it's so big brain that I'm like, dude. We're talking about concepts and we're talking about all this, at least towards the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's getting into some very big, hard hitting. If you haven't watched the other episode on the original Standalone Complex, it has the same vibe. I don't want to repeat myself too much on that on that front, but the consciousness aspect, the namesake, a ghost in a shell of a body of a mechanical being, a synth human. It's man, that's so crazy, and it's crazy to think about, but it's also
it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, it's awesome. But I, again, just like 8th MS Team, Standalone Complex has this now flushed out crew of 7 to 8 people.
A team dynamic.
And each one has kind of their own specialization. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't get as much screen time as they probably should. I think it would be really cool to see, but they were all kind of really interesting side characters that I think are awesome in their own regard.
You'll definitely get more of that in the 2nd season.
Wait, there's more?
Yeah, there's more.
No, what? What?
Yes.
How many seasons are there?
There are 2 seasons.
Wow, okay.
We finished the first one.
I thought this was just a one-off.
Nope.
Holy shit.
No, there's more, buddy.
My mind has been opened. Dude. Wow. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I thought that was going to be it. So I thought we were done.
No, I still got to get the 2nd season on some form of physical media.
Dude. Is it streamed anywhere, or do you know?
Yeah, I mean, we can still find it on the completely legal websites that I use all the time.
Yeah, legally. Don't question. Don't.
But, yeah, I mean, other than that,
I know a guy who knows a guy.
I definitely want to forego my inside source and just get it physically.
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously, we're upstanding citizens. Come on.
Of course.
Yeah. You're also a collector. You like to have physical copies of things,
That's just me.
Yeah, and hey, as a friend, I am appreciating your collection. The more and more we really dig into
There's
it.
Still so much more.
Oh, yeah.
We barely fucking scratched it.
I know. Trust me. I know. But I'm it's one of those situations where I probably wouldn't collect, DVDs or physical copies of video games myself, just because I don't think about it.
Right.
And I'm so encapsulated in the freaking digital age now. But being able just to go in there and look at this shelf full of just physical copies of whatever, I'm man, this is how awesome is this?
I can definitely just by looking at one of them I can pick out at which point in my life I was at when I got that.
That's so cool. You got little milestones everywhere.
I mean, yeah, it's like a pseudo memory bank.
That's almost. So cool. Just a physical representation of your mind. That's so awesome. But
shit kind of sucked whenever I picked that up. But man, it got better once I picked that one up.
Right. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Standalone Complex, dude. There's a part in the middle where they had a couple of I told you this, I think when we went to the grocery store not too long ago, was we were at this point in the season where it's it kind of felt like the the big O in a way.
Oh yeah.
That it's like there's like these little side stories with this like main story through line throughout like the middle part of the season, which I thought was really cool.
The funny thing is they actually have these divvied up in 2 separate plot lines.
Oh, really?
There are the complex episodes, which focus on the main story involving like the Laughing Man and all that.
Right.
And then there are the standalone episodes, which are the little side
Wow.
stories.
That is so cool. Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, but it has this really cool, again, like I don't want to say old-fashioned because I feel old when I say that, but like it has this kind of like this television type thing where it's like you could just watch a random episode, and sometimes there's like a through line, sometimes it's just a one-off thing, and it's its own special case. But yeah,
it's a good show.
It's a good show. I will say that like I was on. I liked the Tachikoma.
Me too.
I liked them.
I love them.
But they weren't like my most favorite thing, because it was just like they were just a little obnoxious because of what like the because it's what they were. They kind of were like children. They were like these like big robotic gun-toting children, basically. But it's like, but they're like gaining intelligence and gaining sentience, and then it's like as it progressed, they really started to grow on me.
Oh yeah,
and Mallory as well. Mallory right off the bat was like, I hate these things. Yeah, and then by the time we
like a few seconds later, she was like, oh, I love them.
Yeah, exactly. After you really see that they're not trying to be obnoxious, they're just learning. You're like, oh, this is literally just like a child.
Like curious.
Exactly. It is literally like the adventure and wiles of a child, just trying to learn how the world works and asking questions and testing out boundaries and stuff like that. And then once you notice that, you're like, you're not that bad. You're not. I just thought you were just being like, you're the comedic relief, obnoxious character and then you're like, no, you're so much more than that. Well, for those of you who haven't watched it, please do yourself a favor, same like Hathaway, go ahead and watch it.
It's been long enough.
It's been long enough.
You.
Dude, I have never wanted to cry so much. I show so much.
Yes.
Dude, there was something. Oh, wow. It was just written so well. So we have our like, I separated the group into like primary characters and secondary characters.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a handful out of like section 9. There's like some primary characters and there's like some secondary characters. The secondary characters really do help flush out the team as a whole and all the little things, like the inner workings of how the team really gets the job done. But you have like the primary guys you see all the time.
Yeah.
And that's like the Major, Bato, Chief,
Togusa.
It's like there's like those like the main guys like that you kind of like you follow around as the story goes, and you can just see them like in the field doing their stuff. Bato being one of them. Man, he's a cool character.
He's the coolest.
He's the big tough guy who you can tell just deep down really cares about certain things, and like is just an all around good guy.
Softy.
Yeah, great guy, but will mess you up.
Oh yeah.
Well, he had a certain fondness for the Tachikoma, which are these big, like I said before, think tanks,
call them.
Right? And there's this like point in time in the season where like they get basically decommissioned, is lack of a better term,
for being a little too curious and aware.
Yeah, and of course this hits a nerve for him, and he's very upset about it, and he's like, I love these guys.
Why would you take away my children?
Right, exactly. They're just trying to learn. Fast forward to like the end of the season, and he is in a real bad spot, getting hunted down on his looking death in the face, literally, from a big robot pointing a massive rifle at his head. He is looking death in the face. And the last surviving 3 think tanks step in and just really
make the save.
Dude, give it all they got. And again, even though they're not quite like fully flushed out for combat, and they're also probably a little rusty and all that kind of stuff, they'd give it their all. And like 2 of them ended up like not quite making it. Well, we have like our main Is it a girl? Is it a guy? Do they say? And that's probably doesn't really matter as far as like the like Tachikoma, like the blue one, the one that we always see. I'm not quite sure if it actually was ever been like given a gender.
I mean, they've all got like girls' voices. So
yeah.
That's just
they all kind of have like children-esque voices. So I always just called it a she, but I don't. Regardless, the main one, the blue one.
That's Bato's unit.
Right, right. So obviously already you have this kind of like special connection.
Right.
At this point in time, you get to see, this is like the first time that Bato's seen this think tank and
God knows how long.
Right.
A few months.
And he's like, I can't believe I'm alive right now. How am I alive? And he's like seeing them. And then not only that.
The tail end of,
right.
of this entire engagement.
Yeah. Their massive like grenade shell doesn't go off or whatever.
Turns out to be a dud.
Right. And so this think tank like sacrifices themselves, but not before like looking at Bato and like welling up in like some little oil tear.
Yeah.
And like saying goodbye. And I was like, damn it, dude. I was like, you're gonna make me freaking cry over a robot. It's like, holy shit. Yeah. And then of course it launches itself forward, like crushing the barrel of the gun. Thing. And when it rams the barrel, of course, obviously makes the shell explode and like it obliterates everything.
Yeah.
And dude, I was like,
it was so cool.
It just hurt my heart. This like, and then of course you have our
the supposedly unfeeling machine.
And then of course you have our main lady, the major, comes up and is like,
gives him a little pep talk.
Yeah, and is like, I'm sorry that I shut them down for, assuming they're learning too much. I didn't think they had the capacity to sacrifice themselves for the people they cared for. And I was like, oh, dude.
You fucking bitch.
Wow. I was like, geez, man. Freaking like a dagger, dude.
Yeah.
The whole like last probably 2 or 3 episodes were
so good.
Heart-wrenching to watch the entire team be just like chased down and basically thrown in prison.
Seemingly snuffed out.
Right. And you can't quite tell who makes it out or not until like the very last bit. And I think that was
awful thing to do.
I think that's very awesome too. The fact that like we're kind of who's the guy, revolver guy,
Togusa.
We're very much in the same frame as Togusa. We're like,
yeah.
We have no idea. I mean, we have as the audience get the benefit of seeing them being chased down and quote unquote like arrested.
Right.
We don't quite know the outcome.
Yeah, it's all left up to
so
whatever the fuck they decide to do.
Right. So Togusa, like in the last episode, is the only one who is able like to kind of really make it out scot free. Yeah. He gets like interrogated, puts in prison for like 2 weeks, but he gets out.
And then they just let him go under the false pretense that this security firm has got him on indefinite home leave.
Right. But then he ends up getting back with this group or whatever, and he's like, What happened to you guys?
He was about to lose it too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he was about to go insane. He was about to just go...
This entire section of my life has just been cut away from me, and I don't know why.
Right. In prison...
But I know who the fuck is at fault.
Yeah.
And if I don't get some answers soon, I'm going to fucking kill him.
I'm about to make it good.
Like, he's about to run up to the dude and shoot him with a gun.
Yeah.
Until Bato just shows up behind him and stops him.
Hey, bud, stop.
What the fuck are you doing here, you idiot? Come with me.
What a good friend. Yeah. They were telling him for a while, just until he gets there, and he's like, let me wrangle you in.
Yeah.
We got to rope you back in, guy. Oh, man. Well, we've been going for pretty long on this episode, rambling about our favorite goodies.
Oh, but they were good.
I know.
They were substantial goodies.
This was an interesting week.
Definitely.
So many good things. And I would love to... Hear me out.
Yeah.
In August, there's another new little thing coming out.
Oh my God, there's a couple new things coming out.
But one in particular is the new Evangelion movie.
Yes, the final.
And we haven't talked about Evangelion on this podcast. No. And I think we need to do that.
We've made mention of it like early on.
Right.
But we never like went into detail about it.
Well, we need to go ahead and give Evangelion a little spotlight, especially before August when that last and final movie comes out.
We could rewatch the show. We could rewatch the movies.
There's so much. I really want to rewatch the movies again. I forgot just how beautiful those movies are too.
I love them.
Great, especially in preparation for that last one.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
We're definitely going to binge those before that one comes out.
Yeah. But anyways, just a little tidbit on the horizon. We got some new stuff coming out, and I kind of want to do some like newer movies. Like I said, give it a little time so people can actually watch it. But I would love to start talking about those too. I think it's going to be really cool. But
it's not exactly the newest, but in terms of recent movies, we need to get Chase on here for an episode on Parasite.
Right. I haven't watched that at all.
Oh,
I remember when you guys went to go see it.
It's a good one.
Well, I'm excited about it.
Didn't win Film of the Year for no reason.
Yeah, right. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening and letting us talk about our big robot fights.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
For the weirdos out there, you're welcome.
For those of you who have no idea what's going on, just trust me, it's really cool.
Give it a look. You might like it.
Yeah, who knows? Anyways, if you're looking for us, we have a linktree/Ian Wolf. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the big platforms. You can type in The Aftermath and probably find us. But until next time,
see you.
Bye-bye.